It appears that I am live. Live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. No webcam on that screen, and we're going to be over on that screen. Wait, I guess this is reversed. I want to go like that screen over there. Okay. So tonight what we are going to do, actually I need to put my headset on so I can hear what the heck I'm doing. Tonight we're going to be doing some editing. So editing is, you can see right here in the timeline all these chops. Well, those chops are there because, you know, and I've never edited a film where this didn't become a very, very, very important part of the filmmaking process. Arguably, maybe the most important part, because it's the part where through the editing process you take something that's kind of working, kind of, you know, feels okay, and you try to take it over the top usually by chopping down. So the good news on Salt and Light is that here we're shooting for a 24-minute episode, which basically is supposed to fold in the intro as well. So in this case, at least in the first episode, the intro is a minute. So right now we have 26 minutes and 49 seconds. So we have plenty of room to chop this thing down a bit. So I've been doing also some punching up of some of the shots. Well, for example, well, actually, these are very good examples. I better switch to the other screen so I can put this on the large preview. And you're really not going to get the contrast between the before and after, really. But you'll have to take my word for it. But so, like, for example, this painting here, I did a bunch of work on to punch that up. Here, this shot is 100,000 million. Hey, Sifter. Yeah, for the most part, Sifter, I'm done with the animation, except to the extent that I fix things, you know. So this shot was just, like I said, I'm not going to pull up the old shots, but basically all the colors were flat, and so I added this red cast in the background, which sort of speaks to the fact that the queen is dying, and then added these gradients. As I was looking at, one thing I noticed when I was watching Hunter x Hunter and also Avatar: The Last Airbender is just really how prevalent gradients are. Now, my entire timeline actually has a gradient. There's a very gentle vignette that's placed over the entire edit of the whole show. And it definitely helps in overlay mode, which basically takes shots that are, let me try to find an example here. This might be a good example, actually. So you take a shot that this is what it was before the vignette, and this is what it is after. So what it does is it basically draws the attention to the center of the screen, which is usually kind of where you want the attention to be. It basically instantly changes the lighting. And so overlay mode is really good for that. If you're a Photoshop person, then, hey, Nagut 40. Soft light, the soft light blending mode is extremely similar. More software seems to support overlay mode, but for most people's, and I'm not going to explain what the modes do. It's a combination of, I think, maybe burn and multiply. I can't remember, but it might be burn and screen. But the bottom line is that it kicks up saturation a little bit and then helps you add contrast in a way that kind of tends to make things pop a little bit if you don't overdo it. So anyway, but yeah, this shot of the queen is completely redone to just convey the
was stricken by a mysterious illness.
You know, you see the lights are going down. I actually, this shot likewise totally punched up. I mean, I added these dark shadows in the foreground, more vignetting, more dramatic lighting, yada, yada, yada. So there's going to be a lot of that going on. You can be sure. So anyway, jumping ahead here on the timeline. And we want this to be, unfortunately, I have to put this in auto mode so that we can see the entire frame. So I sort of have to strike a happy balance here between having a large enough preview and being able to see all my video tracks. So ideally, I guess I probably want to be about there. So again, if you would have to go back and look at the webisodes, but in the webisodes, this sequence through here, Melchizedek, let me see what he does here. He says,
"Oh, hey, Melchizedek."
Okay, so Melchizedek says, "Oh, hey, Luca." Okay, in the webisode, he says, "Hey, Luca, how's it going?" And Luca says back to him, "How's it going?" So that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about, where it's like, you really don't need to hear him ask how it's going, right? So little things like that can be chopped out, and then, so this whole little sequence here just flows much better.
"Oh, hey, Luca." "Oh, hey, Melchizedek."
Who's your friend?
"I don't know. He's just been sort of following me around."
Alms for the blind.
Huh? Yeah, and right there, I went ahead and chopped Melchizedek so that, in fact, previously he says, "Well, you're just a popular guy, eh, Luca?" So there's just stupid stuff like that. That it's not like it's bad or anything, but what you want to do is you want to boldly cut it out and see what happens. And I will tell you that 9 times out of 10, it flows better. So there's an edit we're about to get here in just a second with the old man that's begging for money.
Following me around.
Alms for the blind.
That'll demonstrate some techniques related to how editing can make something flow better too.
To help?
You know, so previously he said, "Is there no one to help a poor blind man?" I think. I don't even remember
actually.
No
one to help?
So let me start here, and we're going to see what we want to do with this.
Is there no one to help? Alms for a poor blind man.
Okay, so when I actually redid this shot not all that long ago, I added him smiling at the end because I thought it might be fun to sort of hint that maybe not the blind guy's a scammer. The truth of the matter is that was not the original intent in the script. He's just a blind guy. And so I want to take this out. So here's how we're going to do it. The good news is if we click in a blank frame and hit the S key, it's going to split all the tracks. So that makes it pretty easy to do major editing. The only thing that becomes a little tricky about this process is that once you do it, you introduce discontinuities in the tempo of the music, but I'll tell you that usually it just doesn't matter, because what you do is you push the music ahead to the next major little phrase or whatever, and then take the prior one and let it sort of prevail until it finishes the current phrase or whatever, and what happens is you don't even notice the edit.
Is there no one to help? Alms for a poor blind
So there you go. That's a totally seamless edit. And the thing you can do too is you just put the cuts under some dialogue so that you make sure it's when somebody's talking that you chop things out, and net result is you just don't see it. Okay, I'm taking a sip of my martini. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to get rid of the smile because I really don't think it helps the shot. The idea was that TNR is having compassion on this guy. That is the point of the shot. So what I'm going to do is first thing I'm going to look at is the dialogue.
Man.
Of course.
Okay, so she really takes her time saying of course. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this whole section right here and chop the whole thing out. I do want to look at one thing here on the music. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to chop this early. like this. So I'm cutting off a little bit of the blind guy's dialogue, but you'll see in a moment why that doesn't matter. Okay, and I'm giving a little bit of air here on the front end of TNR walking up. So with that, I'm going to hit delete, Control-Shift-F, ripple edits the whole darn thing. Okay, so now what I can do is I can say, well, all right, let's go ahead. This is going to make the show flow better. I'm going to turn off event group. Actually, I don't know if I need to do that here. So if I hit Control-Alt, yes, I can just move this edit point. What that means is his voice is going to continue even after we cut away from him, which is a stronger edit to begin with. That's really what you want.
Man.
Of course.
Okay?
Blind man.
Of course.
So you can see that definitely flows more aggressively. It keeps
For
moving.
a poor blind man.
Of course. How can I help?
Money would be good.
Now that I love him saying that line off screen. I think that's pretty awesome. So okay, so I think that really fixed the blind man shot there.
Alms for a poor blind man.
Of course. How can I help?
Okay, so now if I made a mistake and I said, well, I really wanted a little bit more of this walk up, that's a little trickier. I would have to go, let me see if I hit Control-Shift-F. Yeah, that does it. So that gives me the continuity, but then, of course, I have to restore the gradient and things like that.
Blind man.
Of course.
Okay, in the music, we've got this pizzicato, boom, 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 as she walks up. So we really want this music to favor whatever's under TNR and not the blind guy. So I'm just going to stretch this back this way and see how it feels.
Alms for a poor blind man.
Of course. How can I help?
That felt pretty good. And we don't really even hear the, you know, the ambience kick out underneath it.
Blind
But
man.
we'll just sew that up so that the birds chirping in the background don't get sort of interrupted.
Blind man.
Again, if there was dialogue going on, you wouldn't notice it anyway, obviously. So,
A blind man.
Of course. How can I help?
Money would be good.
okay. Now let me look at that. Wow.
Hey,
Okay, number one,
hey.
this line of dialogue is actually a little bit off, I think. Wow. So I'm going to make an adjustment there so that when and if I ripple edit it, everything's going to stay together. And by the way, in case anyone's wondering, this is what I'm working on tonight. So if you're interested in how editing can make a show flow better or whatever, I can say again, reiterate very strongly that every feature film I've ever edited has gone through a very rigorous sort of final step after the soundtrack and everything was done of going in and just really trying to tighten up the edit. And it really can take a movie from being okay to being really good. I mean, it makes a huge difference if you kind of know what you're doing, right? So anyway, if you guys are interested in that, stick around, and if not, then I'm sure there's other things on YouTube that are more interesting for you. Wow.
Hey, I've got an idea.
Okay, and basically here's my philosophy about this. If I feel like maybe there's an interesting edit point, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it a few times, and if it doesn't jump out at me and really bash me over the skull to where it's like very obvious what I might want to do to make it better, then I'm going to skip it. Now, I might come back on another pass later after I do the whole show. I might come back and start all over, and I'm just going back 2 or 3 times over the whole thing. But the rule is if it's not clear to you, if you don't feel strongly that this would be a useful edit, then it's better to pass it by and then come back around next time, particularly because the overall flow of, and by the way, also very importantly for you guys as animators, it does not do you any good to do this or try this before your audio and your soundtrack and your music are all in the show. It's really, you could do it without the music, I suppose, but you really need the flow of dialogue because you're going to have many, many cases like this one right here, where the whole reason it works so well is specifically because you're cutting away from the guy while his voice continues. Once you've edited a show or a movie, you're going to end up with a lot of this, where you've got a cut point, but the audio flows, the dialogue either starts before or after the cut point. And this is actually something Ed Hooks mentioned when I interviewed him, was when he looked at Salt and Light, he said, I think your show would be a little better if you had more cases where when you hear a line of dialogue, you're actually looking at the other person. Now, his purpose was in pointing up the idea of seeing their reaction shot, and he is correct. What I didn't say at the time, because obviously I didn't want to debate the point, was that I knew full well that we were going to have this, what's going on tonight was going to happen, where there's probably going to be a lot of shots where at the very least you're going to have this overlap situation. It really can make a show flow so much better if you allow the audio to sort of, prevail underneath your video cuts. So anyway.
Blind man.
Of course.
And I'm going to actually say,
Man.
I'm going to go ahead and hint this pizzicato thing, because I know it starts earlier because this was all cut. I know the music's there, so I'm going to go ahead and start that a little earlier.
Oh, blind man.
Yes, I like that
Of
better.
course. How can I help?
Money would be good.
Boom. Okay, so now from a tempo standpoint, I'm feeling a beat here.
How can I help?
2, 3,
Money would
4,
be good.
2, 2, 3, 4, bam. So that's almost the same point I found a moment ago. So that's an example of where I'm going, okay, probably the whole angelic thing, I think we've made the point. Do we really need to continue it another 1.5 seconds? Well, almost 2 seconds. I don't think so. So, boom. Yeah, I'm feeling it right there. So I'm just going to go like that, chop it together, and now I need to realign the dialogue for Melchizedek.
Wow.
And as you can see, the music, of course, fell apart right there. We have to now extend this.
Wow.
And see how nice that is now? You've got the choir voice that fades out underneath Melchizedek appearing and then saying his line of dialogue. This flows so much nicer.
Wow.
Okay, and the only thing I wanted to complain about, again, was that his line of dialogue is a little off. Now, this is a dyslexia moment for me where I have a hard time ferreting out, was the voice just a little too early or a little too late, frankly.
Wow.
It looks to me like it was early.
Wow.
Yep.
Hey, I've got an idea.
Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and let this music flow from the choir thing up to here. I'm going to cut it here because I know that Luca's talking, so you're not going to hear the edit in the music.
Wow.
Hey, I've got an idea.
Okay. And so what I'm thinking here is that maybe the music needs to just come down.
I've got an idea. I will call him.
Yep. So I'm going to take this piece out. I'm going to split that and actually just remove it completely and see how it feels.
Wow.
Hey, I've got an idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
call
So
him.
and I can tell right now it's really funny because it's like I haven't edited a movie in a long time, and I haven't really done what you're seeing here tonight. I have not done in 5 years. Really, real aggressive editing where you've got the whole soundtrack and you're really trying to just take the whole show up a notch. I can't emphasize enough, I've never seen it fail. Now, the danger, of course, is we've got 26 minutes of show, and we don't want to get so aggressive that we wind up finding out we've only got 23 left when it's all done. But it would be better. It would be better to wind up with a show that's too short, that flows really, really well, that keeps moving, and then say, okay, if that means I have to come up with some sort of maybe more expansive 30-second recap at the end of the show to sort of tease the next episode or something. There's always ways to stretch a show out. You could be You could even add a little special featurette at the end of the show if you wanted to, using chibi versions of the characters or something like that, like you see in some anime. It doesn't matter. There's always a way. The point is, the important thing is that the edit is a good, solid edit that really keeps moving. You don't want to make any mistake about it, that is by far the most important thing. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far, I tell you that.
Hey, I've got an idea.
Okay, that sound effect sounds like maybe it was... You really enjoy editing and playing with sound effects. Yep. And I was gonna say it sounds to me like the pop.
I will call him.
It sounds to me like the pop
Yeah.
was a little off. Yeah, right there. So, boom.
Yeah,
Oh, it looks to me like that might be in the voices.
yeah.
It is. Okay. That really should be in the sound effects, not the voices, but that's okay. So now what we can do is go ahead and run that right up to the edge of the effect so that I can see visually. So really, there he actually pops up. So we should probably be more like that. And I'm going to put it late just to see how it feels. Ah, man, I tell you. I actually am liking it better and better the later I make it. So there it is. You just do what feels good. Now it feels like it's getting a little too late. So, hey Maria, just got home from a long day at work in the city. And by the way, Sifter, I saw you were live streaming 3 hours ago, and I made a note on my watch later list to go ahead and check out your live stream later on. So, well, I sent my film distributor an email. I
I've got an idea.
I told him where I'm at, and basically want to sort of talk about the path going forward for getting the show released, and probably talk about some other projects too. They're actually interestingly enough, because traditionally the distributor that's handled my movies has been, their cachet, if you will, is in the faith and family arena, right? But
Yeah.
I do know that they're actually starting a new label or brand or whatever that is not. They're specifically wanting to not target so-called Christian audiences, which I think is great. I'm really glad. So I wanted to talk to them about how that's coming together. So we're gonna have a Zoom call next week. Okay, right here, this is probably another example of what I've been talking about. Is Mel's reaction quick enough? So let's just
Idea?
look at that.
I will.
It's close. Okay, so the only thing that really sustains this after Monkey pops in, the only thing that sustains it as long as it does is the fact that Monkey pops in. So let me just look at this for a
That's an
minute.
idea.
Okay, where's his blink? There's his blink, and then here's Monkey. Okay, so that's only a couple frames, but I don't care. I'm still gonna... Okay, now, sometimes it's funny too, because sometimes you'll make an edit like this, and because of I guess I started to say this earlier, never said it, is that what happens is that an edit that seems like it's tighter and works well in isolation, but when you go back and watch the flow into it, you find out that you've gone too far. That happens all the time, so it's something you want to be aware of. Wow.
Hey, I've got an idea.
Okay, I really feel like that should be tighter. So, boom. Okay, so let me go.
That's an idea.
Idea, pop, boom. Okay, so his turn of the head, this edit point is kind of correct, but the problem is it sits there for a second. Do we really need him to show that he's startled in some way? Right? That doesn't help, right? So let's get rid of that. So I'm going to basically say, let's do that. All right?
That's an idea.
Yeah, see, that's so much better. It's like boom, 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 go, go, go. Oh yeah, you'll watch some interesting stuff going on with the stream. I played with a 3D a bit to redo a shot. So far it's been a success. Good, I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on what you're doing. I actually, that was one thing I mentioned in my email that I want to talk about in a Zoom call, because talking to Dave about the fact that, you know, I've got the workflow down to the point where I really do feel comfortable saying I can generate a new, like episode 3, I believe can be done in 4 months, no problem. I'm very confident with that. But it's like, if you're gonna accelerate a release schedule, then you're gonna have to find some people to outsource to. You just are. I mean, there's no way around it. You can only do so much as a one-man studio, and so whether that type of thing, or accelerating the release pace for Salt and Light as well, whether that's possible, it's probably not. If the show got some traction and was earning reasonably well, then it probably would become a possibility, So it's one of those things. That's why, I mean, I'm always thinking about you guys that are out there that are talented and, under the right circumstances, if the situation was right, maybe would be available to farm workout too. The problem I have with a show like this is, in the long run, what you really want to do is drop a whole season. And the only way you're going to drop a whole season is if you can kick out the whole season in 1 year. And so that means that you've got a situation, the business reality is you've got to pay the payroll and sustain the effort really for 2 years. 1 year of production and then another year for the revenue to start rolling into the point where you're able to, recoup. So, you're looking at a 2-year commitment for however many people are involved to make something like this work financially.
Oh. Hey.
So, anyway,
Hey.
I don't know
I've
if
got
that's
an
interesting
idea.
to you guys, but it's real interesting to me.
I will call him Monkey.
Okay, let me look at that one again.
Hey, I've got an idea. I will call him Monkey.
Okay, that's not too bad, actually. That's not too bad.
I will call him Monkey.
Maybe, I mean, I could kind of feel a little bit of an acceleration here when he goes to the smile, but that's maybe going to upset the tempo of the music for no good reason. So let's just take a look and see how it works.
Monkey. I will call him Monkey.
Okay, and the way I would fix that is basically just take the music edit point and take it downstream.
E.
That felt pretty good. So yeah, I mean, if I had the resources to outsource, I'm sure I'd be talking to some of you guys that are here tonight, Sifter and Ross.
I will call him
Of course, I'm
Monkey.
already outsourcing to Maria. Any word, Maria, on the? Have you worked with the microphone, and have you had the chance to maybe knock out some of those?
I will call
voices
him
again?
Monkey.
This feels good.
Okay.
Okay, so now this is debatable. I'm really playing around with body language and, the little thing with his eyes. And so the question here is, have I gone too far? Is there too much of it? It's just not funny anymore, kind of thing.
Okay.
No, I actually think that worked pretty well. So,
Bless you, my child.
Tianara.
okay, now this, and the thing is, once the editing here is done, it's definitely going to take a while, but once the editing's done, then it's going to be yet another round of going back and saying, okay, like this shot right here, it's okay. It's not on the screen very long, but so I just did my first actual work with the mic, doing some voices for the animation group I joined. Seems to work nicely. Good. I'm glad to hear it. This weekend should be able to do a more concentrated job of the SL. Okay, great. Super. It's really not a hurry on my end. I just wanted to I'm really more concerned about that you're, buying a microphone on my advice and then it turns out to be a dud for you for some reason. So I'm glad it's working out. Okay, so this shot is actually a good example of one that really probably needs some work. It's mainly TNR. I mean, her characterization looks a little bit, it's just choppy. But anyway, we'll keep going with it. We're not going to deal with that tonight.
Bless you, my child.
Tianara.
Okay,
Bless you, my child.
Tianara.
feels like this might be just a little out.
Bless you, my child.
Tianara.
Yeah, let's stretch that out. That way, I mean move it.
Bless you, my child.
Tianara.
And I am going to take that and actually condense it a little bit.
Bless you, my child.
Tianara.
Yeah, that feels better. Wow, nice. It's just amazing, you guys. I can't tell you enough how if you're gonna get good at something, get good at editing,
Bless
because
you, my
you
child.
can turn a crappy movie into a really good movie with editing. Does it ever feel frustrating to see the end of production just about there, then find parts you have to fix? Well, not really, because it does in the sense that you want to be done. So there is that, of course, but not really, because it's kind of the old adage about art, that art is not really completed, it's more abandoned. Like there's a point where you go, I've gone as far as I can go, and we have to release it or be happy with it or whatever. So I would say, I mean, the honest answer to your question is definitely yes, because I don't like seeing shots that I did a few months ago or even a year ago or something, where I just, like this one's a good example actually, where I just know I could do a lot better job. If I redid the whole damn thing from scratch, this shot would just look better. The background painting, everything about it, I could improve. And so it used to bother me more than it does now, because it's hard to describe my basic attitude about it. The important thing is that it doesn't matter how long this takes. It really doesn't, because nobody cares. I mean, in the real world out there, nobody knows about this. Nobody's waiting for it. It's up to me to decide how good I want it to be, and I can make it, the truth is I can make it world class if I'm willing to give it as much time as necessary to do so. And by world class, I mean, like you're competing with Disney or something, you know what I mean? If I really, really wanted to, I'm pretty sure I could do it, but, there's just like this point of diminishing returns. Hey, Amar.
Bless you.
So now there's something about this edit here that something about it that's bugging me a little bit, and I'm not quite sure what it is. Okay, so this is a great example of, well, what if we just take this shot that I'm complaining about and just remove it? Just get rid of the damn thing. Let's see what happens. I'll bet you it flows better, other than the music.
Bless you, my child.
Yep. See? Great example. Why did we even need the wide shot? Why did we even need it? We didn't even need it.
Okay.
Just take it out. And
Bless you, my child.
that is so much better. And I will say that I've learned this many, many times, is 9 times out of 10, seriously, 9 times out of 10, if you have a shot in your show that's, just not quite up to scratch, just try taking it out. And as animators, as creative people, we are loath to do that, because we put work into every shot. It took a lot of time. We don't want to, as we say it's actually a term that's often applied to editing movies, is killing your babies, killing your darlings, or whatever you want to say. The idea that you go, oh my God, I'm so invested in this, I don't want to just throw it away. Well, the reality is, you don't matter. Okay? This is the thing you've got to remember. You do not matter. If this show gains an audience, 99.999% of the people that enjoy this show don't have a clue who I even am. They don't know. They don't care. They just want to have the experience of taking this journey with the characters. And so you gain nothing by making your show worse by leaving a subpar shot in the show. Especially if you take it out and it turns out the thing flows better. Which that one that I just did is a great example of it. Took the wide shot out. I don't miss it. Not at all.
Monkey.
And this is it's
Okay.
amazing how much it improves things when you just chop ruthlessly.
Bless you, my child.
Tianara.
Okay, so now I want to look at one thing about this. We've got the close-up of the hand.
Bless you, my child.
And I want to have, for one thing, I would like to see if I can make the video overlap the dialogue.
Bless you, my child.
Tianara.
Okay, that helped. It's a great example of what I'm talking about. Putting that cut so that you start to hear him before the video cut. You just trust me, guys. That's what you want to do. More often than not, that's what you want in a movie. You want to...
Bless you, my child.
Tianara.
And in fact, in this case, I'm going to consider what happens if I actually stretch this out specifically so I can even squeeze a little more out of that overlap.
Bless you, my child.
Tianara.
Yeah, and now the timing of it looks fine, so it's like, okay, look at
Bless
that.
you, my child.
Tianara.
Because it sews it together. The audio starting here it smooths it out for the audience, so you don't get this choppy sense of a bunch of standalone events that are just pasted together, right? So
Bless you, my child.
maybe you guys already know this stuff. I don't know, but
Darling, what are you doing?
I remember when I was editing, really the last two movies I did, Clerical Errors and Healed by Grace 2, in both cases, both of those movies went from being, it's pretty good, it's not bad, to, wow, this is really an enjoy. If you start it, you're going to want to finish it. That was what happened. And it was all because of the editing.
Tianara. Darling, what are you doing?
Okay, so we definitely have a problem here. Now, Carliana, let's just look at this.
Darling, what are you doing?
Okay, well, okay, if I'm going to be ruthless, step one is, why does she have to say darling? Let's just take it out and see what we get. See how it feels.
What are you doing?
Okay, and now what I'm going to do is actually extend this further so we get that overlap thing I was talking about.
Tianara. What are you doing?
Absolutely 1,000,000,000% better. 1,000,000,000% better. Took out the wide shot, and now I've done that twice. I've taken out 2 wide shots, and there's no
My
question.
child.
We're raising the quality of this. Golly. At least 7%. All right? Let's put it that way. At least 7%. You don't need the word darling in there. We don't need to know that it's her mother. We're going to figure that out soon enough. And this is another thing I want to tell you guys about storytelling. Don't feel like this is the problem. For me as a guy that's been involved in the world of sort of faith-based films, which is an arena that well, it's just like Christian music. It tends to languish about a decade behind the secular world in terms of catching up in quality or whatever. I don't know. I think you guys know what I mean. And the problem, when I started making films, there was so much really bad, so many really bad movies out there. And one of the biggest criticisms you could level against, and I guess this is true with all movies, not just like Christian movies or whatever, but is they would just be so on the nose, like the writers didn't trust their audience, right? So they would just just tell you everything, so you didn't have the fun of sort of discovering it and figuring it out for yourself, right? Don't do that. Trust your audience. The question isn't whether you've given them the information they need soon enough. If the edit keeps them moving through the show, if it keeps them engaged, you can leave things out. The main thing is just don't leave them hanging and never fill in that blank. As long as you do it sometime, the audience will be fine. You don't want to... In fact, the opposite of that would be to tease something that doesn't get filled in just to engage the audience and never actually pay it off. That's even a worse crime. I tell you the truth, I've done it in my early filmmaking days. And the second film I did that was never released was just replete with that, actually. I just didn't know what I was doing, you know, from a storytelling standpoint.
Okay.
Bless you, my child.
Tianara, what are you doing?
Oh, that's so much better. It's just, God, you guys, I can't even tell you that. It's so much better. It's just ridiculous how much better
Are
it
you
is.
doing?
He has nothing.
Tianara, we do not talk to such people.
Okay, now you can see this is definitely turning into an aggressive edit session. So worth it, man. So freaking
Are
worth
you
it.
doing?
And actually, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to go ahead and do a push on this shot and see if it helps it out just a little bit. It's not the greatest. I don't love the... it's just not the greatest shot ever. But maybe if I move it a little bit, give it a little motion, maybe that'll help it.
What are you doing?
I almost feel like, what if that started later? And this might be one thing too many. We'll see. But I'm going to try it.
What are you doing?
There. See that? And look at what happened right there. The push happened when the push happened in the music. They happened together. Watch that again.
What are you doing?
That in the music. Golly, guys, I tell you, this is so cool.
What are you doing?
Yep, she says it, and then you start the push, so now it gives it just a little tiny, tiny, tiny sense of, you know, ominous or whatever. Like, this is kind of bad news, whatever's going on here.
He has nothing.
I love that. Jumping back to Mel, too.
Nothing.
Tianara, we do not talk to such people.
So Amar says, cooked 3 pots of chili today from scratch as always. I'm stuffed now from taste testing. Good for you. A good pot of chili can be quite the delight, no question about it. Chili, and another thing I really used to like, although I probably don't like it as much nowadays because it does tend to leave you a little bit stocked up, frankly, is gumbo. And the reason I think is because of the rice. But boy, I tell you, a good spicy pot of gumbo is, man, Louisiana style. We like Louisiana style gumbo.
Tianara,
Make you
we
feel
do not
good
talk to such
when you're
people.
feeling bad every single
Surely
time.
it can't hurt.
5 pounds, it usually lasts me a good month or so. Well, that's what you want to do, my friend Amar. You want to put it in the old freezer, keep it around.
Tianara, we do not talk.
Yeah, I've actually, I have to say, I've been gaining some confidence in my voice work. I've been proofreading Valerie's book, I've actually been reading it out loud, and
Tianara, we
definitely
do not talk
enjoying
to
the
such people.
process of trying to improve. Always trying to improve. Okay, let's look at this now.
Tianara, we do not talk to such people.
But surely it can't
Ooh,
hurt.
okay. All right, so okay, so how do you approach this? We know we want to keep this thing moving, so let's do it this way. Here's the dialogue. So what I'm going to do is basically chop a chunk out. Okay, so this is the process. Chop, boom, Chop it together, and now what we want to do is see what we can do as far as using those overlaps. And what I want to accomplish is minimize the weak shot.
Not talk to such people.
But surely it can't hurt to...
Okay, better. Improvement right there. Yeah, it was pretty warm here today as well, but I cooked soup. I tell you, it wasn't warm. It was warm in Chicago? Jeez, dude, when we got... I mean, it was cold this morning, shockingly so. The house was down about 6 degrees this morning.
We do not talk to such people.
But surely it can't hurt to...
Not talk to such people.
But surely it can't hurt to...
Okay, yeah, and now do we want to maybe do a push here as well? It's got to be gentle if we're going to do it, but let's try. It can't hurt. Just to give a...
But surely it can't...
In fact, I'm going to add a little bit of a push on this one as well. You almost can't overdo the pushes as long as they're not too aggressive and in your face.
We do not talk to
Just
such
a little
people.
sense of motion.
But surely it can't hurt to...
Ooh. Okay, so it looks like here we got a little problem. And the problem is that... Where is my... How come I can't see my properties? There we go. All right, so what we want to do is take this, cut that, grab this, paste that. We are maintaining the aspect ratio, so that should do the trick.
Can't hurt to...
Okay. Oh, I see. It was warm because you're cooking chili inside. I got you, little buddy. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is take this. I think this is a still image that I tacked on to stretch the shot out.
But surely it can't hurt to...
Okay. You know, I'm not sure that there's something about this shot here that I don't love, and I think it pretty much probably boils down to the shot is... It's either a little too tight or a little too wide. It's like I either want to see more of the guy or I want to... In other words, I really want to crop him in or see the whole bottom of his body. So it's not the best framing ever. How many episodes left before you are done and ready to package this series? I'm packaging the series now. The 48 minutes... Well, it's actually 52, but the 52 minutes of Salt and Light is done. Not the soundtrack. I still have the soundtrack. I don't think I'm going to release any more webisodes, so sorry for those who are loving it, but it's not like it's getting any views anyway because I just haven't done diddly to promote it and blah blah blah. So anyway, it's you know, so I'm assembling them into 2 standard cartoon length episodes at this point. So I'm already doing it. As I said earlier, I think maybe before you were here, I got a Zoom call with my film distributor scheduled for next week, to sort of talk about the state of the project and the path forward. So looking forward to that.
Remember who you are, T.
Okay, so let me see. Tomato, onion, bell pepper, garlic, and cucumber water, oil, salt and pepper blitz. Put in fridge and enjoy. Toss the tomato. That definitely sounds... That's actually very similar to what I did yesterday. I had some frozen Brussels sprouts in the freezer. Now, Brussels sprouts, the ones we grow in our garden, you know, fresh Brussels sprouts are pretty amazing, even though a lot of people don't like them. But when they're frozen, it's really easy if you're not careful they turn to mush, right? So I figured, okay, you know, you can always make a soup out of them or something. But what I did was I basically, what do you call that when you... Not braise. What's the term when you do a quick boil on something. You know, just enough to get them hot. And then I just poured Prego and olive oil and chopped garlic out of the garden over the Brussels sprouts, and they were delish. Wasn't like the best thing ever, but it was pretty good considering how easy it was to do. Anyway.
Tianara, we do not talk to such people.
But surely it can't hurt to.
Something about this isn't when Blanche. Thank you, Ross. Excellent. That is exactly the term I was looking for. It's funny because yesterday when I told Val, yeah, you know what I did for lunch? I blanched some Brussels sprouts and I remembered the word then, but I guess it's one of those old fart kind of things.
Talk to such people.
But surely it can't hurt to.
Remember who you are.
Okay,
Tianara.
so I will say there's something about this sequence I don't like, but I think I'm going to keep moving because I'm not quite clear on what it is.
Remember who you are, Tianara.
Okay. So I'm going to just keep going here.
Tianara.
Something about that. Okay, so I see what we did. We have... I thought there was a blink in there. So this is just a static image, actually. I feel like maybe hang that a little bit longer. So again, if you guys... That's rough. Aren't into editing, then you're not going to enjoy today's...
Remember who you are, Tianara.
That's rough. Yeah, chopping that a little bit longer. That's rough.
Am I right?
We have so much.
Okay, now that's not the best. I really need to have Natalie redo that line. It's kind of like a throwaway line where she's supposed to be like, but we have so much. It's supposed to be softer than what she did. Sorry, I'm eating my olive now. So I may come back to that. That's rough.
Am I right?
We have so much.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the main problem with 122 is there's no eye blinks. So, gosh, I think that's egregious enough to maybe go to work on that one. So I'm gonna see if that's a Krita. Boom, 122. Yep, looks like it is. We need to get some eye blinks in there. That's just crazy. That's not the shot. That is definitely not the shot. So let's look into Homa. Load a scene. What are we looking for? 122. And if it's not like right here in front of my face, there it is. Never mind. Yeah, we'll save on. Ah, that's what we have. Okay. So, frankly, yeah, the whole shot is one drawing. So, yeah, her characterization is all over the map on these drawings. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select all this. I'm going to make my life easy here by selecting this and then go to this. I'm really concerned that maybe somewhere, believe it or not, as lame as that drawing is, that maybe I used it somewhere. So what I'm going to do is make a duplicate of it so that I know I'm adding a new drawing to the end of the Smart Raster level. Hello, where's my eraser? E. Freehand. It's supposed to be freehand, silly. Okay, and then I want to go S key, Control V, obviously, to paste that in. And then what I want to do is smack in an eye blink. So I'm going to just hit the R key. Yes. So this is a raster level. So what I want to do is tighten up this line here. And then can you use, I guess you can't use the V key on these levels. So I'm going to grab that, this brush, R key, and then we're just going to carefully erase her eye so that we've got a drawing that we can use probably in 2 places as an eye blink. Okay? Got it, friends? Zoom out. So here we've got, I think right there before her head moves would be good. So I'm going to go delete and just drag this one in here. Hello. Drag that in there. And then down here, she says her line of dialogue. And I think right there as well would be good. So let's delete that. Smack that in. And just re-render it. And then we'll go back and look at the edit and see what we've got. Okay, so now let me take a moment and look at the comments here. Could it be that Tianara's we have so much is a first moment of the rebellion that will lead to her escape? Maybe needs a little more of a moment for her. It is a hint of that, for sure. That is definitely partly what was going on there. But it's really, you know, what I was really trying to do is show her good nature, her compassionate nature, I guess. Let's see what we have here.
Am I right?
Look at that.
We have so much.
I have heard
I mean, I'm going to switch back to this just so you can see my webcam. Am I right, you guys? Like we're talking about night and day, the difference. Just adding 2 freaking eye blinks, okay? Take the time to give your characters eye blinks. You'll be glad you did. Okay, so there's that. That was an easy, pretty cheap improvement, right? And I'm going to save my work over here on the other screen, so.
Am I right?
But yeah, it's definitely her rebellious. It's a, you know, she and her mother are not on the same page. Let's put it that way. Okay? They are definitely not on the same page at all.
We have so much.
I have heard enough. Boulder.
Okay, now this is interesting.
I have heard enough.
First of all, we can definitely stretch over this, except it turns out we can't. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and chop this. Boom, boom, boom. And the reason I did that is specifically so that I can stretch Tianara's reaction over top of Carliana's voice. Okay?
We have so much.
I have heard enough.
Okay, and now what we need to do is stretch the music this way so that the phrase that's being played doesn't get chopped.
So much.
I have heard enough. Boulder.
Yes,
ma'am.
Confine Tianara to the
Okay,
wagon.
now her line of dialogue is off time a little bit, but basically that makes, this is not the greatest shot ever, okay? It's okay. Oh my God, Ross, you are so right, man. Eye blinks, I have gained so much production value from shadows and eye blinks, I have to say. Visually, shadows, acting-wise, eye blinks. It's, you know, and a little bit of that plastic tool to just have a little bit of motion can definitely help a bit as well.
Have so much.
I have heard enough.
But I love that. I love the way, now the way Carliana cuts into the scene feels good. It doesn't feel forced or stiff.
So much.
I have heard enough. Balder,
Yes, ma'am.
confine Tianara
Right
to
there. Okay, so once he says yes, ma'am, what the heck are we waiting for?
Yes, ma'am.
So we chop this. Boom, boom, boom.
the Balder,
And then we're going to have to, again, make a little edit here in the music, and we'll just kind of see if we can make
Balder,
Yes, ma'am.
confine Tianara to the wagons.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, not quite. I'm going to undo that because I feel like I cut out just a little too much. So that's where undo can be your friend as well. Okay, so now we'll stretch this under the voice.
Ma'am.
Confine Tianara to the wagons.
Yes,
Okay, and now her line of dialogue is obviously out of sync.
yes, ma'am.
Split that, stretch that back.
Ma'am.
Confine Tianara to
And let's see.
confine Tianara to the wagons.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so yeah, there's basically there is a phoneme missing, and obviously I could go back and fix that, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of see if I can kludge it, and if it still feels good, then we'll make it work.
Ma'am.
Confine Tianara to the wagons.
Yes,
Okay, so first thing we need to do here is change this. This needs to be speech.
Confine Tianara to the wagons.
yes, ma'am.
It's too choppy now. It didn't work. So,
Ma'am.
Confine Tianara to the wagon.
and by the way, this is kind of my fault because I believe this line of dialogue was kludged together from 2 or 3 different takes of what Maria read, and I thought I liked the rhythmic nature of it, and now I'm kind of thinking that was not the greatest
Yes,
choice.
ma'am.
Confine Tianara to the wagon.
Yes, ma'am.
So, let's change that. Let me think about this for a minute. I want to actually interrupt the rhythm of it.
Confine Tianara to the wagon.
And the reason it doesn't work mainly is because TNR, the word TNR goes up in pitch.
Confine Tianara to the wagon. Confine Tianara to the wagon.
Yes, ma'am.
And, you know, that's actually okay. That's actually okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Confine Tianara to the wagon.
Yes, ma'am.
She's
We're going to come back to that one, but Maria, that's an example of where she really should be saying, just confine TNR to the wagons. She shouldn't be saying confine TNR to the wagons. You know, it shouldn't be like a song, right? So,
The wagon.
Yes, ma'am.
and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stretch this last. Come on, let go. Stretch this last one and see if that helps a bit.
Confine Tianara to the wagon.
Yes, ma'am.
I like that. Let me move this one back out a little bit.
Confine Tianara to the wagon.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll take that. I'll take that. That's better.
Yes, ma'am.
Confine Tianara to the wagon.
Yes, ma'am.
she's a little harsh.
Okay, let me see what that does. This
Yes,
is probably
ma'am.
not going to work.
She's a little harsh.
I'm going to leave that.
Wagon.
Yes, ma'am.
She's a little
Nah,
harsh.
that doesn't work. Chop that there.
She's a little harsh.
Timing on that, not quite wonderful.
She's a little harsh.
And that pop was out of time again. Where are you, monkey? You're going right there? Oh, that's monkey's squeak. Okay, so this... Ooh, that's too early. Holy cow. Okay, okay. It's coming along. Correct. Yes, Maria. Yeah, that rhythmic nature of it. Just do it naturally. Confine TNR to the wagons. You know, you don't have to. It doesn't need to be sing-song. And I think the reason is, again, is because I took a couple different takes and edited them together or something. I don't remember, but
Harsh.
okay, we got this. Whoops. Okay, so this whole sequence, boy, feels good there. This is like, the problem is the old man. The old man, you know, he looks like he's sitting out in the middle of a meadow or something. I mean, we really kind of lost our context with the background, unfortunately. Well, let's play with this. Okay, so we got boom, pop. Well, wait, boy, the pop went by awful quick, didn't it? Pop. Okay, so now we've got dead time right there. Not much, only a few frames. I am going to try to chop this down and see if it makes it feel a little bit better. Right there, why are we going to sit there forever? That's crazy. So once he arrives, in other words, I want to keep, in this shot, I want to keep the motion happening to maximally distract from the fact that it's a little bit of a weak shot. That didn't quite work. Let me look at that again. And the reason it doesn't work is because this I actually wonder if this was, if he was in motion, if he never landed, I have to try that. If he never landed, then it would just flow into the reaching out like that. Maybe. Let's see.
Thank you.
Yeah, this whole thing is not very well acted, and it doesn't breathe in the right places. It's almost like I could cobble a better take together by taking the still images from the animation and just changing their pacing a little bit. Okay, so first thing let's do here, just so we don't go crazy, is let's fix the music. So what I'm going to do is just run the music. Here's a line of dialogue, so I'm going to assume if I run the music up to there, we won't hear the edit. So ignore the visuals for a moment.
Thank you, little friend.
Okay, and his hands are horrible. This is one of those shots that I've definitely been feeling like I want to redo. So, boom, flop.
Thank you, little.
Okay, so I would say basically, as far as an overall editing decision here, to just make it flow smoothly from the minute he takes off, this effect with the fur is cool. So, but once we go to this, it really just needs to get him over there, right? We don't need to languish on this shot. So that worked. But the thing is, the old guy reacts so darn quickly. And plus the reaction is a little weak. Like, okay, you hardly even see it. So why even have it in there? This is a shot that really needs to be redone. His hands suck to high heaven, for one thing. I mean, this is just really a crappy shot. Let's fix it. Yep, let's fix it. Let's come over here and see what we've got to work with here. So first of all, is this a So we're going to interrupt the edit process and reconfigure on possibly some animation. So this is shot number 120C. I can almost bet you that this is a Krita shot, but let's take a look. Zuko's over there saying, "Oh dear." Why are you saying, "Oh dear"? What's your problem over there, buddy? So this is not 120. Yeah, 120 is some ancient thing that who knows what it is. So I'm just going to, we'll create a new scene. Let's jump over to Krita and pull up 120C. If you guys don't want to watch somebody deal with fixing stuff, then again, go over to Sifter's channel and look at the video he posted today or something. Okay, so now this is he's concerned about Monkey's animation. Well, Monkey's animation was fine, because Monkey's always supposed to be kind of frenetic and goofy. The problem that we have here is, and this is a really long shot. So really, from here, this is going to be nightmarish because I don't know what I was thinking, but I packed a bunch of shots into a single, a single Krita file, which is never good policy. And so, anyway. Yeah, the whole thing just happens too fast. So first of all, this drawing is just horrible. Now, this is really a challenging thing because I really don't want to keep this at all. I mean, I really just want to kind of get rid of this guy completely. Yeah. Golly, 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 guys. I gotta really think about this one. Why do we see him here when I thought I turned him off? Ah, there he is. Okay. Okay. There's the ink. Oh. Oh, I see. He covers up Monkey's hands. I got it. Okay. Okie dokie dokie. So he's got his cast shadow. Is that what that is? Nope, that's his actual body shadow. So that doesn't need to be in there, even though it's alpha locked. The cast shadow is useful. I'm going to move the cast shadow out of the group. And I'm going to delete the beggar. And I'm going to save my work. Why did I do that? To force myself to commit. There you go. I forced myself to commit. All right, so now I have to say everything else about this shot. Monkey's a little winky there on his feet, but basically everything else about this shot I don't mind. So, settings, I'm sorry, what do we want? Control R. This should be shot number 120C, and it is, and oh, I'm rendering it. So, as I said, I am committing. Okay? That's that. Now, I don't want to deal with the performance stupidity of Krita, so I am going to, there's no backing out now because I just overwrote this. So let me just look at what we have here. Okay, and now we have a problem. So now this is probably one of the more annoying things I ever have to deal with, which is, okay, grr. So it turns out that the whole render is actually JPEGs, And as near as I can tell, this is really just a flaw in Krita 5.0.6, which is that even though it does remember all your render settings as far as the path, if you change the video file format, it doesn't save that. As near as I can tell, I've been bumping into this a few times lately. So we're going to just overwrite the darn thing. So now what that means is in the render folder for this scene, we've got a whole pack of pings as well as the JPEGs, which is kind of silly. But we're going to ignore that for the moment so that we can keep moving forward here.
So, let's see here. Where are we?
And the old man should be gone, and he is. So that's good.
Thank you, little friend.
There you go. So now what do we do with that? Well, what I'm going to do, believe it or not, is I'm going to go into Tahoma and load the whole render in as a background image. That's what I'm going to do. And then we're going to go from there. Ooh, look, a bunch of reference stuff from anime, different anime effects. What are we looking for here? We're looking for scenes, and we're looking for 120C render. This gets dragged into Tahoma, like so. And now we immediately save the scene as 120-C. Save it. Then what we're going to do is we're going to change the output settings to plus scenes. Whoops. Better spell things correctly. 120-C/render. And now if we render this, it should overwrite it, which we really didn't need to do, but that probably has something to do with, yeah, it has something to do with being probably 0 index base instead of 1. Well, you know what let's do? Let's actually, I hate to do this, but let me look at the scene. Now you guys are yeah, you probably should be, but you know what? It's a bit of a mess anyway, so sorry Maria. So I want to take this and I'm literally going to just cut it out of the show for the moment, and I'm going to clean it out of the project media. I need to clean up my, so I'm going to switch on the other screen, I'm switching it back to pings. And then I'm going to go in here, hit F5 to refresh that, get rid of all these, just delete everything. One thing I have noticed lately is that Tahoma, well actually, this is kind of crazy because the native video or image file format for OpenToonz and Tahoma is TIFF, but I've noticed, at least with Tahoma 1.3, multiple times when I render TIFFs, Tahoma crashes. So I have no idea where that's coming from, but it's just something I've noticed. So what I'm doing is I'm getting the JPEGs out of the show and getting the pings in, because really I want to be rendering pings anyway. I don't really want to be doing the JPEG thing. So let's go back here for the moment. And now what we need to do is import the sequence, and then we're going to wind up overwriting it, actually. Scenes. So this is probably like the worst, most boring thing you guys could ever have to watch, so sorry about that. Open the sequence. It is an 8 frame per second sequence. 120C, where are you? Boom. Let's pull that in. I'm going to pull it in up here. And because I don't really remember the edit that I did, so I'm just going to kind of smack it in there. And why are we not seeing it at all? That's kind of weird. Okay, so friends, we are now seeing... maybe I didn't import the sequence. I'm sorry, that was a dumb mistake. I think that's what happened. Project Media. We want to open the sequence. I'm not sure if I opened the sequence or not, but the symptom I'm seeing does seem consistent with the idea of having not opened the sequence. But I have the same problem now. So, okay guys, so right now I'm bumping into a technical problem that's one of those classic, this is what happens when you live stream, is Vegas does something that it's like never ever done before kind of thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a marker, save my scene, and kill Vegas and restart Vegas. I don't think so. I don't think post-production's boring at all. And in fact, the editing, you're showing up a little late. There's been some cooler stuff earlier, but it's just amazing what you can do with editing. It's just amazing how you can punch up a show and really make it work. So let me just look at this and see. Yeah, for some reason that I don't even want to try to figure out here live on a YouTube stream, for some reason this image sequence flat out refuses to show properly, which, as I said, well, looky here, this might explain it. Okay. So we do actually have corruption in the sequence itself. Okay, I can live with that. So let's go back to Tahoma and look at what's going on here. This is really, really, really strange. I cannot say that I've ever seen this happen before. Ever. Let me pop this up. I think I'm on the wrong screen. I am. Okay, so here's what's going on. Gosh, why does... Ed, I think you're cursing me, man. Every time you show up, crazy, like batshit stupid stuff starts happening with the software. So I'm going to blame this one on Ed Tadeo, because I've never in my life seen this happen before, where you bring in an image sequence and now the first image shows up and all the rest don't. It's just freaking bizarre. So, okay, that's what's going to happen. Oh, I see what happened. I know what happened. Sorry, guys. This is so dumb. I know what happened. Let me re-render this. I know exactly what I did. You guys see what I did? It's so stupid. You can't even describe how stupid it is. It's because the image sequence that I brought into Tahoma was being referenced on the hard drive, so I was overwriting all the files in real time, which is like the stupidest thing you can ever do. So, sorry. This is important. Tahoma, I need to change something here in my preferences because this has come up a couple times lately. I need to switch this to always ask for the moment because I really didn't want to load it. I really wanted to import it. Now, I shouldn't say that. There is a better solution. Let me actually rethink that. There's a better solution. Rather than cluttering up my extras folder, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a copy of this and call it pre-render, and that's what I'm going to drag into Tahoma. That way I'm just not fighting with the image sequences. So we'll get back under control here in just a second. Okay, now everything's fine, and now we can go ahead and do the old man. So let's save all this and go to, well, of course, now I shouldn't have hit save all because it's saving the image sequence. Okay, so here's where we want to be, and now we can actually get to work. So what I'm going to do for my own purposes is set the start marker there, and we're going to set the opacity of this down quite a lot so that we can actually go ahead and start having some fun fixing up the shot. So let me look at what we have over in Vegas. Need to make one little change which you guys won't see. I'm disabling resampling so we don't get ghosting. And okay, cool. So now I'm going to go ahead and dive in with a little bit of a pencil test here. And we're just going to go ahead and put the old man here on the rule of thirds. So, no, no, Ed, I was kidding. I was kidding, dude. Joking around. So let's draw the old man. I probably should have like a reference of him on the other screen so I remember what the dude looks like. Where are you, old man? Come on. There he is. Okay. Got it. Okay, cool. Yeah, he had like a little cap that he wore. So we're going to start moving fast. So those of you who are like into animation and not so much into editing, this is where you're going to enjoy what we're doing here, because this is going to actually get kind of fun. So let's draw this guy. Get a nice picture of him happening. For now, we will turn on implicit hold so I don't have to keep stretching drawings out. And now let's zoom out and see what Monkey's going to do. Okay. And now when it cuts to here, we're going to definitely need another drawing right there. So B key, boop. All right. This is where we're going to go from lame-o to maybe kind of goodish. All right. The problem I do see, Monkey is really pretty large here in this shot. I guess that's what we have to work with. Let's work with it. Okay, so we're just going to have, this isn't the best framing in the world, but that's okay. For now, we're gonna rock and roll with it. So let's get the old man's position in here. We kind of saw in the prior shot how he's sitting there. He's kind of leaning down, and he had the coins. Oh no, he didn't. Obviously, the coins got knocked away. Monkey's returning the coins, right? So let's just kind of make this. Let's do this the way Ross would do it, probably. Real kind of Disney round kind of thing. Ross is going, I wouldn't do that. What are you talking? I wouldn't do that. Okay, let's give him a knee right there. And of course, he's looking a little depressed because he's got this little goofy hat, by the way. But he's probably looking kind of depressed. He's got kind of big ears. And being blind, he'd be kind of looking out into the... His eyes are just like circles. He looks like Luca in that shot, doesn't he? Alright, so we'll give him his little beard and mustache, which is pretty much like that. There, he's looking good. Always flip your characters and see how they're looking flipped. So, should have animated in Krita when Ed showed up. I don't think so. I'm into Tahoma more now lately, just because Krita just bogs down so much when you don't have to get into a very complicated, at least in my experience, you don't have to get into a very complicated shot before Krita starts. It's just like really laggy, you know? And so, I don't know. I'm just kind of doing more painting in Krita and basic animation, and more once I get into really wanting to be able to, you know, flow with it and not have to like wait for the software constantly. Jumping back to Tahoma. So, but you know, you guys know me, actually that's really not quite what I wanted to do. I think I want to fix his nose. My attitude about this changes every week, but okay, that really, seriously, how did I just happen to be on the very next frame? So yeah, I'm always changing my story about this software. The combination of Krita and Tahoma together seems to be the sweet spot for the most part. I have fewer problems, better performance, and I can kind of do what I want to do. So there it is. Take it or leave it. Zuko goes, oh well. Zuko, you're right, buddy. If OpenToonz felt as good to draw as Krita does and the bugs crashes were taken care of, OpenToonz 2D would honestly be unstoppable. Well, you know, what's really unstoppable is Blender. I mean, I was actually playing around with Blender 2.81 today because I like 2.81 and 2.93. You know, everything you want to do, you can do in Blender. And it's very performant and blah, 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 blah. It's hard to argue that, really. But for me, it's not the learning curve so much as the state of the show is such that I'm well invested into Tahoma and Krita. So no big deal. I probably will be delving into using Blender for more shots in episode 3, though, I expect. But we'll see. We will see. Okay, that looks like totally stupid. I don't know what I was thinking right there. I maybe need to quit yakking and drawing at the same time because making stupid mistakes. Okay, so this is interesting actually. I'll take that out of there. I'm going to consider... Yeah, I don't like that at all. Forget that. You guys are probably going, what the heck are you doing? We'll just go like that. Okay, monkey shows up. Okay, cool. So, yeah, I see. So let's hit the S key and smack him down. Actually, this is going to work okay. Put him a little more on the rule of thirds. Okay. Now we're into the job. The job is, what's the acting going to look like here? So he hands it to him. Boom. Bop. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I think I want to mod the timing on this one. Jeez. Well, that's why we do this. So I'm going to stretch this down. So I have a little time to work with this guy. Boom. Bop. Okay. Think about this. He could lean left, like he hears him kind of thing. That wouldn't be the worst idea ever. And I'm not gonna I am not gonna try to reuse stuff here. I want to just, and I think I'll turn on the skins. Let me see. Yeah, okay. Because I really want to keep this loose and think about the acting and not worry about the details of the drawing at this point. So I want to have him lean a little bit into this. So this shoulder is going to stretch out a little bit. The rest of it we probably could leave. Yep, I'm going to keep going on this track here. This is what Ed would do. Ed when he does his, when he blocks out an animation for those who don't know, he, you know, he really just blocks in the motion with very simple drawings. Okay, now this guy is, whoops, oh boy, that's not what I intended to do. Sorry about that. S key. This guy right now he's growing a little bit, and you can't really have that, so. Okay. And here, yeah, boy, look at that. I have this tendency. I don't know if anybody else out there has the same tendency, but when I'm doing blocking in an animation without onion skins, which I really don't like to use onion skins too much, I do have a tendency for my characters to get bigger as I go along. It's really weird. I don't know why that is. You sketch. Well, you do, and I think it's smart because the details don't matter at this point when you're just figuring out what the acting is going to be. So he's going to go. He's going to go. Boop. Okay, yeah. So now he's going to begin to rise up, and so now it's going to be boom. Okay, so now this could probably happen a little bit later, but the idea is that this is going to become a transition into the next shot. So the next shot, so let me see. We can always move this back up, of course. So, there we go. So now this, let's take these out so that as he's moving, we cut into that motion. Bloop. Crazily enough, the size of it actually almost looks about right on the second shot, which is of course a little bit ridiculous, but so let's just, I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and start with this drawing. Okay, so now he needs to rise up into this, and of course his shoulders, I'm not expressing what I'm trying to say here very well. So it's like, and then he lifts. And so here, what I'm wanting to do is have a kind of I want to be looking up at the guy. And I can't let him get off the screen here, so let's just get that flow. Boom. Okay, now is that it? Yeah. So there's this recognition, right? So if this doesn't make sense, here's his little hat up here. Here's his ears here. Beard and mustache. You know, here's the beard. So there's the guy. And so what he needs to do now is he needs to have a brief pause and then lean into it. Boom, bop. Okay, right there. Let's just get him here. Little less of an angle on the eye line. And then get him here. Little angle now, going from sort of convex to concave, if you will. Okay. So now, what about his hands? So he's going to go, hand, there's where it covers. So this is, we'll draw it like mittens at the moment. I don't know if I like that idea, but let me just go ahead and, okay. So here, he's cupping his hands over. He's got to do it in kind of a gentle way, you know. Okay. And I actually don't like this. I don't think that's the right idea for his head. So we'll come back to that. Smack that out of there. And say, okay, fine. The thing that we know for sure here is that his hands come up. And now here, this is a key drawing. This is a key. I think I want to keep his head leaning back, in other words. So let's just say the important thing is his smile, because he's basically saying thank you, little friend. Okay, right? So so this would be little change there, but not much. Okay, but of course that's wrong, because he's not going to look like that. He's going to have, he's still got his eyes that look out because he's blind, right? So let's go, let's just kind of follow those blind eyes around here a little bit. This reminds me of a old Rankin Bass type, something you'd see in, you know, Santa Claus is Coming to Town or something. That's the feel it has for me. Okay, so now we've got this change here that turns out to be wrong. That's wrong. I'm afraid I'm going to have to erase that and start over. I think maybe what I should do, this is a case where it might be better to say S key. Let's just work with this, Control C. Because I like the characterization there. This is okay, but I think I could probably go like that and then kind of push that up into a smile. All right, let's see what we have here. And we probably should save our work, huh? Okay, cool. Hello. So I'm hitting, you know, not bad. I definitely like the timing of it better than the old shot. Okay, this part, let's start to tighten this up now. B key. All right, so we've got an eye line here, eye line, and it kind of scoops around a little bit. Center line. Okay, so we're kind of going to say, okay, so here's his, basically we have a triangle, right? So that's pretty much what we're talking about. Now that's a bit of a snap over to that position, so you might have to check that, see if that's too abrupt. Boom, boom. Okay, so up here, here, okay, he's kind of got the wrinkles going on, and we do want to kind of maintain a bit of a simple characterization here, so this is almost too detailed, but not bad. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here and checking my reference from the earlier shots. Okay, so now we want to make sure we don't lose this curvature here, so this should really be a little bit fuller. That I like. This one starting to lose it a little bit. So let me erase some stuff and see if I can get it back in. Yep, that's better. That's better. Okay, so now when we jump to this shot, there's the angle on the, I'm just going to put in the angle on the eyebrows. Okay, so if we figure we got about a distance, something like that there, we'll go ahead and mark those so that we, yep, okay, so now with that arc there, it's pretty easy to get these pretty close to right without fouling it up too much, I think. I've been finding myself doing this a lot more, like doing animation with basic spheres and cylinders, and I think it's harmed my work trying to get too much characterization too early. Some of you guys that are better than me might have an opinion about that, Ed or Ross, about not being too quick to like try to delineate the character, but just give it, you know, give it time to really get the animation figured out first before you start punching in the details for no good reason, you know. Okay, so now we've got this sort of thing here happening. And I'm just going to go through and get all of these in here. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, let's see. Okay, how about the get the overall volume of his beard and stuff. That looks pretty good. Obviously, we need to get the hat there in the last drawing. Not bad though. It's feeling okay. You know, if I don't mess it up at the ink and paint stage, we might be looking okay here on this shot. Then obviously here we've got a bunch of lip sync because he's saying thank you, little friend. Right? There he is. What time is it? Golly, 2 hours. Well, that's what happens. You start doing frame by frame animation. I tell you, things slow down a little bit. All right. Tahoma's saving, so that takes a little bit of time. So I mean, Ed, are you still here? If you are, and if you see anything about the process, like the way I'm going about trying to figure out how this motion's supposed to look, if you have any thoughts at all about what I'm doing wrong, please put it in the chat. I'd love to hear your opinion. I mean, you're a hell of a lot better at it than I am. So if I can get some free instruction, by gum, I'll take it. Why not? I'm not proud. I just want to create a great show. That's the truth. I just want to make a good show. Uh-oh. What am I doing wrong? What could I be doing better? No, I mean, seriously. I mean, everybody here would benefit from your ideas about that if you want to weigh in. If you don't, that's okay too. It's all good. Okay, so I want his knee to stay over there because he's leaning away from it, right? And in fact, here, I'd feel the maybe would come up a little bit as he's sort of leaning into this. I love this kind of body language. I mean, I actually really I don't like the time it takes to really do it all and, do it right, because I'm a little impatient, but I do enjoy the process of trying to figure out just, that body language and how people move around and how their weight shifts and stuff. It's really cool. So here he's coming up. By the way, I should probably put his little hat in there, right? So this is very much a tween. This is going to be a one-frame tween to just get us to the next. Oh wait, no, it's not. Is it? Yes. This is just a one-frame tween to get us to here. So, all of which is to say this shot, this particular drawing right here is probably the least important one because it's just getting us to the cut. So I'm going to keep it loose and sketchy here just to, I feel like I'm kind of doing it the Glenn Keane way. I'm not as big a fan of Glenn as a lot of people are, actually. I think he's an amazing director. I thought the job he did on Tangled was amazing. But as an animator, I'm not as enamored of Glenn Keane as a lot of people seem to be. I don't know why I bothered to say that, but I don't know. I mean, of course, the guy's a legend, so what do you do with that? If you're a legend, you're a legend. Okay, okay, so here, the overall now this is one thing about Tahoma I'm liking, is that Tahoma seems to be very forgiving of literally I don't even stop scribbling, but yet I'm toggling through the keyframes. I really like that. That's what I want in animation software to do. Just let me keep on, flowing through it. Okay, so now here, make his left hand on his knees like his arm will be angled. Oh, I know what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, speaking of that Rankin Bass thing. So you're saying out here, is that what you, wait, that's his left arm. The problem is that's going to block Monkey. Are you talking about something like that? I don't want to do that only because Monkey's already in the shot and I can't really block him. So I'm gonna, but is that what you were talking about? It's not a bad idea. Yeah, I don't want to do that because of Monkey. That would be covering Monkey up. But I do like the idea. Get rid of the Monkey. Yeah. The problem is Monkey's kind of important in this shot. This is the actual shot. So, I mean, I'm definitely animating around the fact that Monkey's there, number one, and number two, that the actual framing of the shot that I'm animating over top of isn't really that great. It's not horrible, but it's definitely not like the best ever. Okay, so if the truth be known, in terms of the way he's sitting, his left arm here would be like this. And bringing up the left arm is kind of an important thing to be bringing up, though, because what's going to happen here is certainly that his arm, and I'm doing this Glenn Keane way, I'm just basically scribbling the curves, not really worrying too much about good anatomy or anything. So I just want to get the flow of what his body weight is going to do and how his arms are going to finally end up in this type of a position. So that hand is open there. So this would be the other hand. I'm just going to, again, keep it loose. Keep it loose. Starts to come out there. There, I would say we don't see it. So he's kind of coming around. Let's see what we have. Is there a previous shot with the monkey? Well, I mean, what we have here, yeah, there is, because we've got, I mean, in this case, I am kind of married to the backgrounds and the monkey stuff that's already, you know, baked into the show, if you will. So it's not that they're, you know, I mean, this is a good example. I mean, really, as far as being on the rule of thirds and all that sort of thing, this shot would be better if Monkey was a little bit smaller and we had a little bit more background behind him. So it is a kludge in the sense that I am trying to build the new animation of the old man around everything else without having to, you know, stop everything and totally rethink, you know, 5 shots. So that's, I'm treating that as a constraint. Like I don't have a choice, right? The director said, "This is, you have to make it work, Dave." So I have to make it work. Is the way I'm looking at it. So yeah, Monkey pops up here, and then he runs over, and then this is what we're animating. Let's just look at this. He runs over. Ah, thank you, little friend. So, I mean, I think it works. I certainly like the timing, and especially when he leans over to the left. The thing I did that I think was good was that lean to the left where he recognizes that Monkey's there. Really makes it start to work better than what I had before, that's for sure. The one thing I would say too, though, here is I'm feeling like I want this head to turn even a little bit more. Something like that. You don't have to show the monkey all the time, maybe just part of it. You don't have to show the monkey all the time, maybe just part of it. You're saying reframe it so Monkey is maybe more of him is cut off or whatever? I see now. I guess that's all right. You know, I believe me when I say I want your input, I'm not joking, but I also didn't really explain the little detail, which is that, you know, because I'm just fixing a shot that's already cut into the show that's several shots in a row, I am kind of forcing myself to say, oh, well, you know, you have to find a way to make this work. I will say that in total, everything I'm working on here in this whole sequence would probably be better if it was all shot a little bit wider and I made all of the background images a little bit bigger. Now, we could accomplish that by re-rendering a lot of it with the backgrounds removed, Because then we could just scale up the backgrounds and the backgrounds would still work, right? So it's not like we can't separate the backgrounds out from monkeys. So reframing certainly is possible here. These shots are actually, the shots themselves are all full HD, and the camera is what's cropped to broadcast HD. So we actually have about a 30% crop range that we could use to reframe these shots a little better. And I don't think there's any question that, gosh, looking at the camera, probably most of this whole sequence would be better if it was framed more like that, just a little bit looser. But, you know, it's just more stuff you have to do, obviously. So I think for now I'm going to leave that off and continue on the path I'm on. But yeah, let me think about what I was saying about how I could improve. I'm thinking about things like maintaining volume in your character for one, you know, is certainly something I've had to improve a lot. I've had a tendency for my characters to, especially on a 3D turn, like if they're turning around in 3D space, where, you know, they just change shape and they don't stay on character and stuff. Getting things blocked in with really simple shapes seems to help quite a lot. Keep you on track. Nagat 40, those shots are so similar. Could you make it one shot? You talking about when the guy turns from this to this? You could. I mean, sure you could. Of course you could. I just don't want to. Well, wait a minute. Let me think about this for half a second. Well, one point that does need to be made here is that I'm going to have to separate the background from the monkey anyway. So reframing is becoming a very more viable possibility in a fast hurry right now, for the simple reason that I don't mind the cuts, you know, from this shot to this shot, but what am I going to do? Do ink and paint on this guy and then carefully cut out Monkey's hand? You know, that's stupid. Just because Monkey and the background are sewed together. So, obviously, that doesn't make sense. So, but, by the way, for anybody else who's listening, you know, Nagut 40 is a real good animator too. Ed and Nagut 40, who I like to call Ross since that's his name, but either one of those guys can. If you're here and you don't know those guys, you should be following their channels because they're a lot better animators than I am. Anyway, so here we're gonna have some wrinkle there. What is his costume even? He's not a particularly fat guy. Okay, yeah, so he's leaning, so we would actually, oh boy, so we would have this knee here, and that knee would then have to come down like that or something, right? You know, he's kind of sitting there like this. I mean, in total, I do like the way the shot's coming together. I like what's happening here. Just, you know, animation, it's just a series of problems to solve, isn't it? And then here, what would happen? Gosh, actually, the knee would come back up, wouldn't it? as he's kind of, you know, it's like his foot would be kind of down like this, and I got to think about this. So here, his foot's like down here. Kind of draw the toes in there so you can sort of see what's going on. And then this would kind of drag around. It's quite interesting to me, the body mechanics. This feels wrong. That definitely feels wrong. That does not feel right. This does feel right. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Whoa. I just have a list of my animated music video as a playlist on my channel. There you go. Well, that's cool. Like the pirate and the flea, so at least people could see that, and that's definitely cool stuff. Very cool stuff. Flaming heck of a lot of work too. Okay, so here, when he comes around like this, so now this is actually kind of important. This knee. He's all crumpled up, man. Probably be interesting to actually take a video of somebody doing this just to see what the body mechanics would really look like. But I think, you know, and basically this other foot's sort of sticking out here underneath him, you might say. Let's see if I sort of got it kind of close to right-ish. Huh? Yeah, this foot under here doesn't make any sense, but yep, it falls apart through here. Yeah, that shouldn't go up. That should go down. That's not what would happen, because he'd have to push down against it, wouldn't he? So we'll just redo that part. Okay. B key. And I want to take that out there. So obviously that's really foreshortened. Now this is quite interesting. You know, I guess I keep saying body mechanics. I don't know what else to call it really. Okay, we'll keep that as a simple shape for the moment, just and then it's going to pull back a bit at least. But we don't want so the knee is essentially there, right? So what I'm saying is we don't want to have it rise up. Okay, it looks like I just saw it. Oh, I thought I saw a comment come through. I must be seeing things. I must be seeing optical illusions. Well, it is kind of fun that I wound up doing some good old-fashioned plain old character animation here, because I didn't expect to. I really thought I was just going to be working on the show edit, but golly, you know, if the shot needs to be redone, it needs to be redone. I love this part through here. I really love that reaction. This is okay. This is actually working okay too. Again, it's the weakest thing about the whole shot is just the framing of it. But that's not a deal breaker. It's not a deal breaker, friends. Alright. L key. Thank you, my friend. I think he says, thank you, little friend. Like, how does he know it's a monkey that's handing him the coins? I don't know, friends. I have no idea. It's a cartoon. Come on. Okay. Now, what are we going to do? We got to tighten it up. How are we doing on time? Holy cow, it's 10 after 9? Jeez. Hokey smoke, Gus. I'm going to have to get Zuko to bed. This, to me, is kind of important. It's the way his hand sort of clasps over the... I have to play with this one. I felt like I wanted the one hand to be... It's like this, you know. It's like it's almost like a, you know, sort of the traditional, well, not to be like chauvinistic about it, but traditionally, you know, if you think about a couple hundred years ago, if you were greeting or shaking the hand of a woman, you might take both of her hands, or take both hands and sort of clasp her hand. You know, it's that type of a feeling is what I'm trying to go after here with the way that he takes the coins from the monkey. Why? I don't know. It just felt right to me, I guess. Okay. One thing, there's something here. I don't like that pause right there. I'm going to take that out. But then I suspect this should be a little bit longer. Thank you, little friend. Yeah, that worked. Alright. Alrighty then. I am going to actually render this. I'm going to render this and see what it looks like in the show. Why not, right? Actually, this is going to have a problem, I suspect. And the problem is this. Yep, I need to turn that on and re-render it. Control-Shift-R. Okay, so let's jump back over to the show and find my shot. Okay, so that was my reference material. Oh, there it is. Okay, so why is that like kind of dark? Oh, I know why, because it's semi-transparent.
Thank you, little friend.
Wow. Okay, the voice is obviously in the wrong place in a big way.
Thank you, little friend.
So let's take this, split that. Whoops. Let's kind of get it kind of sort of where it's supposed to be.
Thank you, little friend.
And he really...
Thank you, little friend.
Yeah, that's probably about right. So it's really right at the end of the shot. Pretty amazing.
Thank you, little friend.
Wow. Okay, and then arguably... you could stretch that out just a little bit.
Thank you, little friend.
Wow. That'll work. Okay, so let me look at this in the trimmer. I want to check something about this shot. Let's see that again. Yeah, he just jumps right into saying wow, so I guess we could push this forward
Little
a
friend.
little bit. Wow. That'll work. Okay, not too bad. So we got the monkey.
Thank you, little friend.
I have to say, it definitely has improved the shot. I mean, if anyone wants to disagree, feel free to weigh in. I won't be offended, but I think that's definitely a step in the right direction. So, that's the good news. The bad news is I got a bunch of work to do here doing ink and paint on this thing. And I ain't up for that tonight. So, I think it's probably time to cash in my chips and call it a night here very shortly. So, I hope you guys understand. I'm really just ready to call it good. So anyway, thanks for hanging out, guys. It's been fun. This I don't know if I'll be live streaming the ink and paint on this. We'll see. But thanks for the input, Ed and Ross and anybody else who's here. Sifter. Everybody have a good night. As you guys know, there will be more later.